That's that one. So,
Yeah. I was on the wrong side.
good. So I'm at C4 left. So that doesn't matter, right? I don't care where I am. What I care is there's a tender point here. And I'm going to bring her back to where I start to feel it. It softens. It floats. Now, what happens is, if I bring her back right to the place where it softens a little bit in my hand, I stop, and that's really cool. If I keep going, yeah, her whole spine locks up, and we have nowhere to go. Remember, there are 3 places that have to get completely balanced in motion. So we start with a little bit of extension, and we put a really substantial amount of rotation and almost no side bending. How's that feel there? Yeah, it's a nothing. So it's kind of like what we saw in the anterior spine. When we're at the upper segments, we're doing a lot of rotation, not a lot of side bending, not a lot of flexion. When we're doing the lower segments, you'll notice that we're going to do a lot more side bending and not as much rotation. And that's it. I mean, we're just hanging out here.
So rotation toward, so it's the opposite. Everything's opposite from the anterior.
Yes, depends on how you think of it as opposite.
Right.
Some of you, like I, might realize that they're the same. For those of you for whom that has no meaning, forget I said it. Those of you who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about.
How your brain organizes.
It's how your brain organizes in space, right?
That's right.
All right. Now I'm going to go to the C5 place. Now a little more extension, right?
Okay.
Not a lot of rotation here, right? But a lot of side bending. And then a little more extension. How's that there?
Because that's what it's asking.
That's what it's asking for, right?
So you side bend
Away,
up,
away.
away. So me it would be like moving it up
Yeah,
that
well,
way, towards that
that
the
way,
wall.
yeah.
Okay.
So toward her shoulder,
Yeah,
really.
towards the shoulder.
Oh,
Okay,
I see.
gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I can see that.
So Stephen, is this particular to what she's got going on, or is this particular?
No, this is the way now the choice of the segments is particular to what she has going on.
Right.
The positional release for these segments is the same for everybody that has a spine.
So as you go down, there's more extension.
Yes, obviously. Yes, think about it.
Rotation and more
Side bending, yes. Yeah. We could do this 2 ways. One is we could sort of one is I could give you nothing and you could find out what you had to do to release them, and you would realize on your own that the further down toward the thoracic spine you go, the more extension, the less rotation, the more side bending, and up toward the head, the less extension, more rotation, less side bending. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Because that's how the spine moves.
That's kind of the nature of the mechanics of the spine. Now, what's really interesting is this one the C4 one is still kind of sore, right? Now, what's really interesting is it satisfactorily completed posteriorly, but it's still kind of boggy and sore, like it missed something. So I'm going to C4 anterior on the right side, same segment, right? C4 posterior left is the same as C4 anterior right. If hold your hand out right in front of you, point away, and just turn it to the left. Just a little bit. And so notice that the left side of your hand goes backwards, the right side of your hand, the outside of your hand goes forward. So I'm guessing that's keeping the posterior one from working is this wicked little guy.
Yeah.
Bad C4. Bad C4. So we have a little bit of flexion, fair amount of rotation, and a fair amount of side bending. And how's that feel now?
That's a 0.
Yeah. But you realize what I'm doing is I'm also monitoring with my left hand what's going on with the posterior left. So I've got both the anterior right and the posterior left, and I'm balancing to where both of them are doing breath and flow. Kind of cool, huh?
A rotation in,
Well, we're doing what we do with the anterior. I'm treating it as an anterior segment. So now what I'm doing is I'm flexing, I'm rotating away and side bending toward, like we just did before supper. Yeah. And then sometimes C4 would be happy. Sometimes it's happy now so I can.
You want C4?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I rotate toward, I side bend away, which is going up almost toward Cindy's head.
Yeah, on left or right?
Left. And that really feels good. Finally, so this posterior left has gotten the resources from the anterior right, so now it's really treating. I mean, it's like huge breath and flow. And that's it. If I were to go down, which I would have you do, go all the way down to like C7, way down here, it's a huge extension, rotation toward, little bit rotation finishes it, and then a huge side bending away. Most of the lower vertebrae principally side bend, lower cervical vertebrae. How's that feel?
Yeah, this is 0.
And you can always add. A little secret weapon sometimes might be a little tiny bit of compression, a little bit of axial extension, just to kind of help compress and tweak that joint free. So while you're back here, after you've done all of that, now go back. There's the C2 spinous process. There's the C3 spinous process. Here's a little spot there. That's a little tender.
Yeah.
It's talking to us. So here I am at that C4. And it often is a little gritty there, too. So tuck your chin. How'd that? It's gone, right?
Gone.
So push your head right back into me. Now, this is kind of interesting because we might note the fact that we had all this stuff going on at C4, posterior and anterior, and here we've got the C4 spinous process one too. Wonder if they're related at all. Is it any of our business?
No.
Yes.
Depends on how we interpret our business, I suppose. I'm spinous process. I'm right median.
Right in the middle.
Smack into middle.
What's the underlying principle of why you're going into something or away from something?
Don't want to talk about it. I'd much rather have you just, like when we did the balance ligamentous tension of the lumbar spine,
Yeah.
just learn the procedure and don't think about it. Slide down. See, the fact is, Amy, there is no underlying principle. We just do it because somebody told us to do it.